Good afternoon, Rotarians. Welcome to the meeting today. I see that so far we have 88 people with us, and also that we have a presence on Facebook. So I don't know how many people are out there, but I want to welcome every one of you. And I think we're going to have a great meeting. We're learning lots of stuff. You know, we got lots of stuff in the air as this thing works, and we're making lots of decisions, and some of them will be right and some will be wrong, and we'll make corrections as we need to. But without much ado, I want to start, as we normally do, with a reflection. Keith Burwell, are you there? And we'll follow that with Angie Jones leading us in the.
Okay, there we go. Somebody had to unmute me. Okay. I am here and I am ready if I can get my today's reflection. A couple quick statements that I like. Courage is not having the strength to go on. It's going on when you don't even have the strength. Theodore Roosevelt said that, for many of you who may have read in the past. And given the situation we're in, it has been sometimes called Matthew's prayer. Or Matthew's recitation, but for these words, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me, and I was in prison and you came to visit me. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me, which I think is very apropos for today. I have heard said in this situation that when you replace the I with we, even the word illness becomes wellness. And then to leave on a reflection note for a guy who's a basketball junkie, as we try to help those around us, never let the things you cannot do prevent you from doing the things you can, John Wooden said. And there ends today's reflection.
Thank you, Keith. Angie Jones, are you there?
I am.
Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Keith and Angie. Hey, Angie, before you go off, you're the head of the university's Family Business Control. What is your title?
I'm the director of the Family Business Center. Yes, it's an outreach organization in the College of Business and Innovation at the University of Toledo.
And do people have to have a connection with the university to work with your organization?
You don't have to have a connection with the university. It's a member-based organization, so you join as a member of the center. It's for regional, family, and privately held businesses. And what we do is help provide resources, education material, connecting people together to discuss the issues that are different in a public organization that focus on family business dynamics, succession, transitions, those unique issues that happen in a family business.
I know you aren't expecting my questions today, but is there a way people can get in touch with you? I know we have many small business owners in our Rotary Club who might want to have a conversation with you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I can talk about my center 24 hours. Sure, you can reach out to me, angie.jones@utoledo.edu, or I'm probably in the Rotary directory. We are right now, I mentioned we're a member-based organization, but right now we're offering most of our services and our resources free to the community during COVID. We have a webinar tomorrow with some of our experts talking about the PPP, and then one coming up later this week on maybe the future of the economy for the regional area. So once we get over COVID, what does that mean and what are the opportunities in this area? So absolutely, yeah, reach out to me. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere.
I'll see what I can do to get your message put out. I will, before I get off, I'll say that Sharon Trebek from the Mommy Rotary Club says very nice things about you. So,
well, thank you. She's wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
I got right here. Thank you so much, Angie. The next thing we've got up is our meeting sponsor. Is Brad Deventhal there? Well, if Brad Deventhal was there, I would thank him and the Rudolph Libby Group for sponsoring our meeting for this entire month. And thank you very much to the.
I am here present.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah,
Thank
you're welcome.
Rudolph Libby Group, and you're the guy that makes that happen for us.
Yep. Sounds good.
I am so glad that you are here because it's your job.
Yeah.
To introduce our roundtable speakers today, and I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. My name is Brad Delventhal. I've been a Rotarian for going on 2 years, and I'm loving it every day, every meeting. So thanks for that. And when I was asked to introduce the speakers today, I definitely jumped to it, and Kevin reached out to me, so I appreciate it. So I got the opportunity to sit on the Lake Local School Board for the last 9 years. So I got to see exactly what goes into all of these decisions that the superintendents have to make and administration. So with them speaking today, I'm anxious to hear what they have to say, and I think everybody else is as well. So with that, we have 3 speakers today. From Washington Local Schools, we got Dr. Kadee Anstadt. From Toledo Public Schools, we have Dr. Romulus Durant. And from Ottawa Hills, we have Dr. Adam Fineske. So thank you very much for speaking today. And I guess alphabetical order, I guess Katie's going first. And then at the end, we'll do some question and answers to follow up. So thanks again for everybody for joining us.
Well, good afternoon, Rotarians. It's good to see you, or at least I can see some of you, so that's good. Thank you for inviting us today. Dr. Durant and Dr. Fineske and I talk several times a week right now, staying in constant contact as we try to figure out what's coming next from the governor or Dr. Acton or even locally. So what we're doing in Washington Local right now is obviously we're having school. It just looks a whole lot different than it has in the past. So our school teachers obviously are home and they're meeting virtually with most of our students. Our students in grades 3 through 12 have devices at home. We have at least one device in every home that we know of. And principals and teachers, counselors are reaching out by phone to make sure that we've been in contact with every single family. Every other Tuesday, we run a food bank for students only. So any student 0 to 18 comes through our line at Whitmer High School, where we're distributing 2 weeks worth of breakfast and lunch meals for any child 0 to 18. Last week, we served 65,000 meals. So it's not a small undertaking. It's not something we're used to doing. That's a way bigger, we do not have Dr. Durant's commissary. We are not used to creating quite that many meals in a week, but we've learned a lot from them, and we continue to get a little better at this every week. I said by the end, maybe we'll just close down the whole school thing and become a food distribution center, because we're getting really good at that. So we're every day just trying to find new ways to reach out to families. As you know, some of our biggest challenges going forward are what's coming next year. That's a big concern for us. It's one thing to end school at a moment's notice and put teachers into action. They're really good at this. But not knowing what's happening next year creates some other challenges. If we're bringing kids back in a smaller group, what does that mean from a cleaning standpoint? How do we get kids on buses where we keep them socially distanced? How does a cafeteria look? How does food service look? What does the playground look like? These are all questions that are a lot more difficult than stopping school. The starting school will be a much more difficult question to answer. So next year, that's all something that's ahead of us. And we're also looking forward to summer, where we're hoping to have some private donors maybe fund some summer camp, virtual summer camp activities for our students. So we're in the planning stages now with local universities to see if we can pull some of those together for our students to keep them connected over the summer because they won't have their sports camps or their STEM camps or any of that like they normally do. So these are all challenges that we have going forward, and I've talked long enough, so I will turn it over to the next guy in the alphabet.
Within the D's of Durant, but I'm gonna start my timer clock because 5 minutes, sometimes I can get a little winded. So let me make sure I stay within the time frame to make sure everyone gets on and speaks about what they got going on. Again, thank you for having us here and being able to point about what's going on and how the district is moving along within the Toledo region. So the one thing with our district was the prep came about when we started hearing conversations about it's not about the if, it's about the when. And when we heard that part, that when we began to realize that we need to be prepared and ahead of the game, particularly when you're trying to plan for 23,000 students and over 4,500 faculty members, what does this look like in essence as we move forward? So we began understanding the dynamics of our school district, obviously high poverty, free and reduced lunches, and all those other things that everything we had to do, we really had to spoon feed through that process. So meaning that we started off with a blended model, meaning we had learning packages that parents came by, picked up, and if they couldn't pick it up, they could get it online and print it out, as well as we had provided some rovers who were bringing packages to homes in the event that we have a lot of families who are being raised by grandparents and who are grandparents who could not mobilize themselves or in essence based on their physical nature and how their stature was. But that began the process of having a blended option, as well as some who had already had laptops. They were going online using our iReady, our Lexia, along with our Apex system that we use, that the kids use throughout the day, and they had become accustomed to use them. We wanted to make sure we maintain the same flow of day, that they were online, they were doing some packages, at the same time, in essence, they're lunching. So we provided them lunch as well as breakfast. And so we have the blessing to have a commissary. So I would go over there in the morning, see how they're doing. They're setting up all the lunches as well as all the breakfast. They're getting accounts. We work with 211, and thank you to United Way and 211 has been a blessing because they were the quarterbacks of really satelliting parents to different locations. So again, we weren't just feeding TPS students. We were feeding some Washington local just as much as they were feeding some of ours. We were feeding charter school kids. We were feeding private school kids. Whoever showed up, we were feeding. And so we just took this as an opportunity to make sure that we provided a service to the community. So we were providing about over 30,000 a week. And it just kept going up more and more within that. So we appreciate United Way and being part of this. The other thing was just constant planning. So we had already known when the governor on March 16th said, hey, we're going to look to come back on April 6th. We said, what's changing between March 16th to April 6th? So we'd already begun planning to say, you know, we're going to probably end up going and coming back sometime May if this situation is not controlled and contained. By the time we got to April, we were already in the mindset that, you know what, the governor more than likely is going to go to a closure, which he had ended up doing about a week and a half ago. But again, we had to have two plans going, in essence, in the event that we were brought back or in the event that we were going to close. We need to make sure each plan was continuing in the discussion as well as moving forward, in essence, what we needed to do. We began to start mobilizing, in essence. Once we began to make decisions, we had to start now developing inventory for our online portion. So again, being able to service 23,000 students and the needs that they needed, not only they had to depend on us for devices, they had to depend on us for Wi-Fi, and they depended on us for the programs itself, which all cost a substantial amount of money. And at the same time, the devices with their Chromebooks are coming from China. So you can already imagine the delay in shipping and all those other things, but at the same time, understanding the demand and essence of being able to provide devices. So once devices came, we put them in hands. But like I tell people, you can give them a fork and a spoon, but if there's no food on the table, they're not eating. And so in this case, we had to make sure they had Wi-Fi capabilities and connection. So we were blessed and with the levy support that was provided in 2013 to put Wi-Fi on many of our school buses. So we began to develop what we call Project Wi-Fi and mobilizing our buses to provide Wi-Fi hotspots in communities that had no area of connecting to. We broadened the Wi-Fi of our schools to get into the community. So we started mapping out where our buses were at, where our schools were at. At the same time, we put out over 8,000 hotspots from Verizon Wireless within the community as well to provide access to many people as possible. So not only did we have our students taking advantage of the Wi-Fi, but we had charter school students as well as private school students leveraging the Wi-Fi hotspots that we were putting out satellite in the community. At the same time, we now have a donor that we're sitting at the table that's looking to go one-to-one. Currently, what we provided was a one to every home. So a parent may have 3 kids. Those kids were utilizing one laptop amongst the 3 based on the demand. And now we're at the point of scaling it and getting a donor who ultimately allow now all 3 kids in that home to have an individualized laptop. So we're appreciative to those who step up in donations. But I think the Project Wi-Fi, I think one of the biggest ones in essence of connectivity of projects, ourselves, Washington Local, Dana, as well as ProMedica came together in developing PPE which are the visors and the protected shields, we were able to utilize our 3D printing to provide visor clips, which are the clips that strap around the head that allows the shield to tap into that protect the medical workers as they're doing their duties. So, you know, we had Start High School, we had Toledo Technology Academy along with Scott High School, all utilized their 3D printing. We had Sleeping in Heavenly Peace come by and pick up the product, take it to Dana. Dana put the helmets together. We took it to ProMedica. ProMedica sterilized it, and it was right into actions on the front line within it. But I think one of a big heart-touching story, if you haven't read in the media, is one of our students at Scott High School, a graduate who's graduating this year on March 27th, was identified having COVID-19. She went in, but at the point of time, she did not know she was contagious, but she had given it to her mom as well, but she had no clue because she was on a ventilation in the hospital. By the time she got out, her mother had already passed to the COVID-19. So it was heart-wrenching. It was a blessing to get out of the hospital. It was heart-wrenching for her to realize that her mother had passed based on something she contracted and passed on to the household, which is why this needs to be taken serious, because we have a graduate who ultimately, her mom will not be able to be part of that, just based on the nature of how that went down. But with that said, I don't want to take up too much time. I'm going to turn it over because I see my clock has already ticked, and turn it over to Dr. Fineske and take it away.
Thank you, fellow Rotarians. It's great to see all of you today. President Tim, thanks for having us. I think all three of us were excited to be able to come on together. Fortunate to be here with Dr. Anstadt and Dr. Durant, two colleagues who we talk a lot and work together a lot as area superintendents. It's pretty cool how many of us work together on different projects and we communicate very often. So I will say it's never easy to follow Dr. Durant, so I get this alphabetical thing, but come on. No, I'll jump in and talk about what's happening in Ottawa Hills local schools. As you know, we are a pretty small district. We only have 2 school buildings, about 1,000 students, and our demographics are definitely much different. You know, I commend the work that Dr. Anstadt and Dr. Durant are doing in their teams with the food services, and the ability to help feed their communities is just commendable, and pretty amazing that the effort that the groups at both districts have made. In our district, it is a little different. We actually don't have food services. Our students either pack lunch and some of them walk home, believe it or not. That's the way our district does our lunchtime. So definitely a difference. But we have been really focused in Ottawa Hills on what we're calling staying connected with our kids. And I believe as an educator, it's really in this time, staying connected is the top priority. I think there's a lot of expectations around, you know, are they going to get the same learning? Are they going to have the same standards met and all of that? But right now, I think a priority has to be staying connected and not only focusing on learning and doing what we can with that, but also realizing there is a big social, emotional toll being taken by our students, our teachers, our parents, our families. We can't forget that. So in our district, as we started planning for what we call the Ottawa Hills Remote Learning Plan, we felt like structure was important. And we are fortunate to have in our community, with the support that they've given us over the years, the ability to have all of our students K through 12 having a device, whether it's a Chromebook or an Apple laptop. And having that really helps us be able to move quickly into starting to do this remote learning. It's not easy. All of a sudden, our teachers had to flip the switch and learn all of this and ready to be live like this on Zoom or Google Meet every day. But they came together quick, and I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of our students and our families. Everybody was flexible. They were patient. But they started our remote learning plan about 3 weeks ago, and it really started well, and it's still going well. For us, that involves a schedule, an actual schedule every day that our students and teachers follow. Our K-5 has a schedule, our 6th grade, and then our 7 through 12. We have a junior senior high, so our 7th and 8th graders in our junior high follow the same schedule as our 9 through 12th graders. And that schedule involves some live appearances with teachers on a daily basis, as well as recorded videos, recorded lesson plans, time for students to not only be with their core academic areas, but also with their special areas, whether that be art, PE, music, our foreign languages, and so on. This is all built within the remote learning plan schedule. So it's going really well right now for our kids. We've had a great participation rate. We're very proud of that. But we know that we're continuing to modify as the governor continues to make decisions, and we just found out we're off the rest of the year. We're taking time this week to connect with our kids on more of an individual, in a more individual way, so that we can check in on them. Do they have what they need? Is it going okay? And then kind of resetting a little bit for May, whether we need to up what we're doing or look at slowing down, just to make sure the pace is right for our kids as we go into the last month of our school year. And then I'll just end with it. We are also looking at a summer learning plan for our kids to participate in. It will be a tiered structure with 3 different tiers to it based on ability and learning levels of our kids. But we think that's important. It won't be something that's mandatory, but we believe we need to provide that in a remote fashion so that our kids are really ready to get going in August, whatever August looks like. And that's kind of still the question out there that I know is on all of our minds every day. But we feel the most we can do kind of in these phases. Right now we're in the spring, moving into summer, and over summer we'll start talking about fall once we receive, more information. So that's pretty much in a nutshell right now what's happening in our district. Proud of our teachers, our families, and just everybody pulling together to make this work in this unprecedented time. So thank you.
Thank you very much, all 3 of you. I appreciate it. I would, before I turn this over to Kevin for questions and answers, I just want to congratulate Adam for being the number one. Tell me, is it the number 1 school system in the state?
Yeah, well, U.S. News and World Report puts out these rankings, and I'll say it's just one of the many things we look at when we evaluate our schools and our districts. As you know, there's lots of different ways that we look at it, but this is one of them. And yes, it was a very proud moment for the students, the teachers, and the families in Ottawa Hills last week. Last year, we were ranked number 5 in the state, and this year moved up to number 1. So very exciting for them. The credit goes to them. The work that's happening in that district and the kids and the efforts the families put in really make it happen. So yeah, some exciting news. Thanks, President Tim, for saying that.
Congratulations, Dr. Fineske. You've done lots of work on that, and we appreciate it. Kevin, are you ready?
I am. I tried to give Dr. Fineske all of the credit for that, but he did pass it on to parents and teachers. And in his first year at the school, I guess maybe there is some other credit that goes to other people. But all right, so we got questions that are rolling in through the chat. Obviously, also feel free to hit that raise hand button at the bottom of the participant screen if you've got a question for any of our superintendents. Randy Rothenbuehler had put a question in there. I don't see his camera on, but I will. I'll ask that one for him. So the question for all the superintendents is, how are you handling graduation ceremony? So let's go in the same order we started with. So Washington Local, Kadee Anstadt, you are up first. If I can get to you and unmute you in time. All right, Kadee, you're up.
All right, very good. So I would say, I think in my morning message this morning, I talked about the ebb and flow of graduation information. So it's still a work in process for us. Last week, I think there was still some hope that maybe we'd be able to pull something off in late summer, or we'd be able to do something on a small scale. But on Thursday, the Department of Education released guidance that said, we really don't want you to do that. We really want you to have your graduation ceremonies as close to the original date as you can. We really don't want any excuse for people to be gathering. We don't, everybody in masks, obviously. So ours is still kind of a work in progress. We know there's probably a parade of some kind involved. We have over 500 graduates at Whitmer High School this year. So 500 cars is a lot of cars. So I'll be definitely leaning heavily on Chief Crawl for a little help there. And it's just a work in progress. As each day evolves, we're trying to think of as many things as we can to make this the most memorable and special day we can for our class of 2020. Certainly it is historic. That's what I keep saying in my messages. there's one thing we can fall back on. You will go down in history, class of 2020, but it's a sad time. I mean, it seems like each week something else gets pulled away from our kids. If it's not a sports season, then it's graduation, it's prom, it's just all these rites of passage that we've all rather taken for granted over the course of our entire lives. And now suddenly it's just the rug has been torn right out from under them. So we want to continue to work to make it just as special a day as we can and still keep everyone safe. We talked a little bit about doing the small groups, but honestly, if one child was exposed and took that home to grandma, I don't think we'd ever be able to live with ourselves. So we're going to keep it as very, very much as safe as we can, keeping people in cars, no hugging, no high-fiving, no all of those other things, large group photos, none of that will be going on, at least not in the month of May, which is when our graduation is. So we're graduating May 30th as planned. Little different than planned, I guess, because we won't be at UT. We'll be doing it, and we'll also provide a virtual option so that kids will have a memory of this too when they're done.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Dr. Durant, how are you guys handling graduation at TPS?
You know, so just as Dr. Anstadt has stated, the governor had put out guidelines in essence that all school districts had to work within. Within those guidelines, just as she has stated about the date, in essence, so some districts were looking to wait out and maybe think that a month or two down the road that the governor would lift some restrictions and et cetera. And he immediately spoke against that and asked that we put it, just as she said, either remain on the same date or within the time frame of the date. So working with our teachers as well as our administrators and those within the district, we're already in the midst of the conversations in essence, because the other direction he was asking that whatever it is that he's recommending remote graduation throughout in essence to keep somewhat consistent, because she was finding that superintendents were feeling a little stressed based on, you know, not having any guidelines. And if one district does one thing and they don't, then the heat that they're going to receive. So within ourselves, we're looking at in essence of multiple options and talking to multiple vendors. Many of the vendors are already soliciting a lot of school districts as well as even ourselves in essence of here's how we can make the most eventful opportunity for these seniors within itself, and being able to do it virtually, as well as here are all the things that we would bring as memorabilia that these students would walk away with a basket of far more than any other graduate may have had in previous years, that you may not get the ceremonial aspects of it, but you will walk away with memorabilia that's reflection of the class of 2020. Understand this class has been through a lot. As you recall, we had been battling with the state of Ohio and their pathways. So this graduating class had their pathways changed twice, where, hey, one minute you were on track, next minute you weren't on track. And they turn around and said, okay, we're gonna do it different. And then guess what? You're not on track no more. And then you back on track. And then to get through all that and get to this point in juncture of time to be told that, okay, you're not going to have a ceremonial graduation, but you will have some remote, virtual, whatever aspects of graduation that may be. And that's the planning that all districts are generating, in essence, some sense of creativity, as well as trying to provide some sense of individuality to each and every aspect of it, just as you would see a child cross a stage with what their 1-2 seconds of fame of graduation. So we continue to be creative, continue to work with our staff, as well as welcome all vendors and ideas. And then what we will do is we will be putting out a statement in essence of how graduation will go right around the 4th, which is the time that the governor is opening up everything.
All right, thank you very much. And then we will pass to Dr. Fineske in Ottawa Hills.
Sure. So, I'll go back to the size difference a little bit. Interesting to hear when Dr. Anstadt said 500 graduates, we have 62 at Ottawa Hills. But, I think originally when all this came out, many superintendents were hopeful and saying, hey, we're going to do something. We'll have graduation. I think we all are, and we're planning on doing something. I think that's changed over the past couple of weeks with what that looks like for us. We are very small, but I have a lot of the same worries that were shared by my colleagues. I think just the chance of anything happening, we just know is there. I'm really waiting to see the governor's guidance that is going to come out. I believe today he's going to talk more about the plan of opening things back up. But I think we all have to look at the guidance we've gotten from the state, and districts have to be on the same page. If you're, I think I like the idea of, some type of parade or some type of event that might go around where folks are in their cars, or, for us, we have a radius of 2 miles around our village. So, is there a parade with the graduates or something like that right after an online virtual ceremony that takes place? We are still talking, nothing's firm. We actually have a graduation committee meeting tomorrow. The guidance from ODE though was pretty clear on, and really what the governor has supported with was really not having these gatherings, as well as, looking at a virtual way to do it. So that will be a lot of conversation of what that looks like soon. I know in our district and all districts in our area.
Excellent. We've got a couple of questions coming in through the chat. Dr. Durant, somebody said they want to know where you bought your chair. So I'm just going to put that one out there. So if you want to pass that link to Kate Nelson, she's looking to pick up your office furniture. You're done with it. Let me pass it to John Wasserman, who had a question for you guys about phys ed and mental health and counseling services. John, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, how are you handling phys ed for the students, and if there's mental health or counseling in terms of what courses that guidance in terms of going to college and all that type of thing? How's that being handled?
All right. Hi, John. Thank you. So really very much the same way that we're handling instruction right now. So our counselors reach out to their students. We have a counseling hotline for any student at any time that would need additional help. And that's almost like a 211 at Washington Local. So any kind of help at all can come through that counseling hotline. Phys ed, same thing. We're handling it virtually. Our teachers are meeting with students online. They've got their assignments during the week. They're keeping, different teachers are doing it different ways. The elementary level, they have a choice of activities every day that they can either do outside for PE, for art, for music. So it's all continuing. Mental health counseling going on the same way. Our students with disabilities or special needs that receive those services are receiving them virtually and online. So
what about labs like chemistry or something where there's labs?
Much tougher. There's a lot out there virtually, and some of them have really found good resources, but with such short notice, we're so used to doing things hands-on, right? We have an entire career tech center. Dr. Durant has the same challenges. All of those things that in the spring, especially where we'd be building things and making things and tearing cars apart, all of those things are becoming much more challenging. We're doing the best we can with the virtual labs that we have.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And to add just what she had stated, I don't think any of you would want your grandchildren, your children mixing chemicals in your kitchen or somewhere and not have the appropriate setting. So there is regulations that are provided in order for schools to be able to do it. What we do is we suggest resources that make things that they can do that is something that's suitable for what the home life would be like in doing those things. But just as Dr. Anstadt has stated that we provide the same hotline. Some outside of mental health, you will find that as along with the curriculum rigors, tutorials for students and parents, you're talking some sense of special education as well as technologies. You'll be surprised at how many people will either forget a password or they aren't understanding how to log in here again, or really where did I need to go to get to this option, and they may have forgot, and they just go right into the hotline, and the hotline takes them to answer any of those questions within those. At the same time, exercise and health, again, recommending certain resources, as well as we have staff members. Our teachers have been great during this time. Our teachers have really been stepping up and really not only providing academics in essence of rigor, but we have some who are actually putting exercise classes on. So they got their kids who are tuning in and doing burpees and doing jumping jacks and all those other things that the instructors are very creative in doing. But just providing some sense of opportunity because some kids are more unwilling to engage knowing the person across the screen who's exercising is someone they know compared to someone who, a stranger that's just on TV and it's just passing through channels. So we've been very resourceful in leveraging what's already existed, as well as the staff has been very creative in providing and supplementing in ways that had been very suitable, as well as things that we were recommending and making sure, one, that you're following the guidelines of social distancing, But at the same time, there's the ability to take advantage of your metro parks and respecting the guidelines of social distancing. What I can tell you, I can look out my window and I could have a great view of the park system downtown. And it brought a good sense of satisfaction to see that people actually now are showing appreciation for the resources that are here in the city of Toledo. But I could say as well that we're seeing more and more families come together more than they have done in the past. I can tell you, and probably since the 60s, there are more families who are sitting down eating at the dinner table as a family than there was in any other time that we had lost the essence of what it meant to be a sit down and have family meals and etc. You're having that in abundance. It may have been enforced, but I could tell you the feeling of it, it's starting to transition, and I could see it carrying over as we begin to get out of this phase of the pandemic itself. So turn it over to Dr. Fineske.
Thank you, Dr. Durant.
Yeah, I would just say pretty similar to what Dr. Anstadt said as far as how we're conducting those times. You know, if you think about your elementary years, going to phys ed, art and music, those were your favorite times of the week. You know, I talk about with my kids at home, what'd you have today, art, PE, or music? I mean, those are the things, that's the time where they get to let loose and really de-stress and be creative. And those things are so important to learning. For us, our remote learning schedule contains all of those areas weekly, and those students are participating online with weekly lessons and exercises and activities and lessons with those teachers weekly. And that, again, that was some of their favorite time that had to continue. It's definitely different, but it's still happening. I'd say on the social emotional side, you know, whether you are in a district as large as TPS or a district as small as Ottawa Hills, there are going to be mental health issues, and those are on the rise. And I think, you know, now even more in a unique way, something new for our counselors to really look at and focus on. We have 4 counselors in our district. They are busy. They are talking to the kids a lot of college planning going on right now. Our elementary counselors are continuing with their second step anti-bullying program lessons weekly with our kids. They're built within the elementary schedule, so our students are still getting to interface with our counselors weekly, which has been great. Again, the counselors are some of the folks in the schools where the kids feel comfortable going to, talking to. They can say anything to their counselor. They play such an important role right now that they have to be included and are willing to and want to be as involved as possible. And not only supporting the kids, but supporting the teachers and the staff that's really making this work.
Also, Mr. Wasserman, the point that was left out is your conversation about college. And so the universities have been great when it comes to ACT and SAT scores. Some of them have waived those, as well as other requirements. They know that students are going to, at various levels, are going to have difficulties taking advantage of. So they have worked with all the local school districts, and we've been putting that information out with our counselors as well as just making sure registration is happening, all those things that's worth. So the counselors in all our districts are reaching out and making sure our seniors are on top of making sure they apply, but at the same time being updated to say, hey, universities are no longer requiring this examination to get entrance. They are just automatically approving those just based on the case of the pandemic situation it is today.
All right, I think Dr. Anstadt's got another answer for John as well. Let me see if I can get to her. You should be good to go, Katie, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. John, one more thing that I thought of that's really important. So today kicks off our Muscle and Fit Challenge. Chris Wormley, one of our Panther graduates from 2012, reached out to us last week, and he's putting on a contest for our kind of more of a challenge, both mentally and physically fit, just to try to help us out over the next 2 weeks to kind of keep our kids engaged. You know, you get to this point in May, and I have to tell you, even if you're in front of your class and you're very animated, I was a pretty animated teacher, but even then, this part in May is tough. I mean, you're battling great weather, you're battling all of that. So we're really grateful to Chris and to Kelly Kiger, a 2002 graduate, who put together kind of this mental and physical fitness challenge for us for the next 2 weeks to kind of keep our kids more engaged. So grateful for those graduates that reach back out.
Awesome, excellent. All right, then I'll pass it to Kevin Dalton for a question.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and thanks, Dr. Durant. Thanks, Dr. Anstadt, and Mr. Fineske. Not really a question, but on behalf of the 3,000 members that I represent, on behalf of the Toledo Federation of Teachers, as well as the AFL-CIO and the members that work within your districts, I want to say thank you. Your guys' support, the letters that you've been sending out to community have been very welcome, as well as all the folks around the Rotary call and part of the Rotary, United Way, 2-on-1, Connecting Kids with Meals, have all stepped up to help the students we serve, whether it's packing meals at the office or helping us deliver meals. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew on behalf of the TFT that we appreciate all the Rotary has done and all the members of the Rotary have done for the students we serve. So thanks and keep up the great work.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Kevin, thank you very much. You're easily one of our club's, top 5 favorite Kevins. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go. Jocelyn Libator from the Chamber of Commerce is joining us. One of the advantages to, while we don't have as many guests joining us, it's nice to have guests join us. And so I'll pass it to Jocelyn, who has got a question. Jocelyn, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just had a question if there was any update for seniors who needed a hands-on capstone project required for graduation. Are they still on track to graduate? Just looking for any update there.
I think I'm unmuted. I think the good news, Jocelyn, is that the state has given us a lot of leeway. And so our counselors and our academic mentors have been able to reach out to our students and help them finish those capstones. Sometimes that's hours, sometimes it's just being creative with what that looks like. We are really grateful to the Department of Education and for legislators in House Bill 197, who gave us really some breadth to be able to work with our graduates. Our goal is to get every kid across the stage. All right, so it's a virtual stage, but every kid. We really want to work with every one of our students, and we've aggressively reached out to make sure that they get their hours in, that even if it's not what they planned on doing, that it's something similar, or we're thinking about that. So that shouldn't hinder anybody from graduation.
Yeah, no more really to add to that. Just as she stated that the governor has given the autonomy to each school district based on one, if a kid was already on track to graduate, they would continue to do so. At the same time, just as she said, there's creativity within each and every school district. I would suggest if it's your child or someone you are speaking to, it's recommended to speak to the school district, have a conversation about what are those alternative creative opportunities. And it may be doing something simple as online. At the same time, the universities have been great because, student teachers were affected by this as well as many licensed practitioners. They were in the midst of finishing out, and now all of a sudden they've been short-sighted to a certain degree. And when this all is finished, it was the end of the third quarter, traditional school districts. So what the university have done is stated that the child or the student was on track to graduate, were in successful standing, that they would finish out the year. So we have some student teachers who are with us. We will be hiring over the summer who will be coming in next fall. But again, even at the collegiate level, they're honoring the good work put together for the 3 quarters to be the average of what is going to be presented for completion of those programs.
Excellent. And then before I pass it to Dr. Fineske, so we'll do kind of one final pass through here. So Doctor, if you want to answer this question, then I'll also ask just to kind of in your closing remarks, we'll work our way backwards through the alphabet this time. If you could just lay out for the club, looking at the resources that our club has, the club members have, what is the greatest need that your district has, and a way that we as the Rotary Club at Toledo can support you guys today, tomorrow, and moving into this sort of unknown future?
Okay, well, Kevin, I'll just real quick give an answer to that first question. I would just agree with my colleagues there that the House Bill 197 has really allowed a lot of flexibility and with the graduation piece. And like Dr. Anstadt said, getting every student across the stage, virtual or not, is the goal. And there's been some flexibility there. We're seeing a lot of creativity happen. I'm participating, tomorrow in our advanced science research class presentations, something they would normally have to be doing to the public and out and about on the University of Toledo or Bowling Green State University campus. Now they're doing virtual with folks coming in similar to this. To still have that experience and be able to meet that credit do it in a unique and different way. So that's just an example of what's happening there. I'll jump to your final thoughts there, Kevin. I think for Rotary, for our school district, I think providing kind of an openness to connections within Rotary. There are so many members that might be able to provide our students with some unique opportunities to talk and work together online via a Zoom or a Google Meet to really maybe have some of those interactions with local community leaders that they might have had in person. Now they can't do that, and they might be craving that or looking for that as they end their senior year or whatever year it is to get some of those experiences beyond what they're getting from our folks. We've tapped into our alumni in Ottawa Hills all over the country to connect with our students in this fashion, and it's going really, really well. The kids are enjoying it. They're all signing up. We almost have too many to do it on one day, and it's been great. So I think the connections from the members, the amazing Rotarians that are here and sharing some of their professional experiences and things would hit a need in our district.
Dr. Durant, go ahead.
And so again, I thank you to the supporters of Rotary as well as many others who may not be on. Like I said, that we're now having some sense of ability to go one-to-one because a donor who saw our needs understood that there are a lot more kids who are going to need Chromebooks opposed to one to a home, wanted to see to it that it was one to every child. So thank you for that. But there's more across the state of Ohio that's going on. I would ask for a broader understanding for Rotarians as they begin to have conversations, particularly with legislators, whether you're part of the governor's, some of his committees, or even OD or whatever that may be, to get a broader understanding that, in essence, of one coming back in the fall, what that potentially could look like, as well as having conversations. So when you're able to engage, they're able to answer questions. Meaning, what does testing look like? And do you have the capacity to give testing to each of the school districts that right now you're lacking as a state as a whole? So with every governor are complaining about their needs from the federal system and saying that, you know what, they're not, the response or the capacity is not there to provide for us, don't transcend that down to the school districts, meaning because the school district is going to be just the same. Don't have us all as superintendents competing for PPE material as well as cleansing material. So anytime that we're bringing students back, we're going to have to do a rampant throughout the day of cleaning, which you can't get Lysol anywhere and Amazon doesn't even carry it. So if we're competing as school district as well as many of the medical facilities who primarily are priority to get some of these things, we're asking that to have a plan that has capacity to support that plan, which superintendents can execute and carry out within the school district, meaning testing is able to be provided for, PPE supply is able to be there, that we're able to make sure that people who need these protections are being protected. At the same time, the opportunity to be that we're going to be cleaning on a much more frequent basis than any other time, that even cleaning materials are there, that there's capacity for those things to happen as well. At the same time, having an understanding what a traditional day is for an educator, a teacher, administrator, and that social distancing, what does that look like on a 72 passenger bus? I mean, you're now cutting it from 72 down to 20 students and broadening and expanding, which ultimately means you're going to need more buses and more bus drivers and et cetera. Are you going A and B weeks, such forth? But at the same time, understanding that we have critical ill teachers who ultimately have immune system disorders and all those other aspects, we're ultimately going to have medical leave, which ultimately means our sub pool. Sub pool is going to be depleted because most of them are retirees or middle age who ultimately at the end of the day may not subject themselves to subbing on a day-to-day basis in the event that students or teachers are not able to become based on their own personal illness situations. But I think all these things need to be thought about in essence, and those are the challenges of what school looks like, which is never going to be what it used to look like. And two, at the same time, whatever it is, that we had a capacity to say everyone who comes into that door, we are one, testing them. We know their test results. At the same time, we are gauging their temperature day to day. At the same time, that they have supplies within the classroom or special needs classroom. Some don't really realize until you get into a severe multi-disabled classroom, they're changing diapers. Fluid is constantly being exchanged from whether it's the mouth area and various other areas and all those things. They need a nursing PPE material compared to just traditional teachers. But in essence, at the same time, our our counters, being our secretaries. I've already been going into, even you go to the grocery store, there's a shield right there. Even a traditional grocery store has now had a shield. So now the conversation is making sure that we're doing the same, as their shield for our clerical staff. At the same time, the conversation is asked, because we're having it, so not only do we meet on Tuesdays as a greater region of superintendents, on Thursday, we meet as a Northwest Ohio region superintendents, and on Fridays, I meet with Ohio 8. But there's conversation about putting shields up for bus drivers. And not only do you have to think of the conversation about putting a shield up, but there's also conversation about the state highway patrol have to come in and approve it, and it must be able to withstand an accident. So there are so many variabilities that are coming into play that have become part of the conversation. But the governor has been doing a great job and really reaching to the needs of his community and his constituents. So we appreciate that. But I think those are all the conversations we're growing into as we scale to reopening. What does that look like? As well as the day of education has completely changed from not only the traditional K-12, but also in the college level as well. So at the same time, I mean, look at what we're doing here in Rotary. So everything has somewhat changed, and this Rotary changed to some degree as we begin to move forward, as we begin to scale down in essence of what reopening looks like. But again, we appreciate Rotary. The community has come to you support of this Toledo region, not just TPS, Washington Local, Ottawa Hills, as well as many others. And so there's a great appreciation for all that you do. Again, continue to put service before self, and thank you for standing up for what Rotary stands for.
Dr. Durant, thank you very much. And then I will pass to, for closing thoughts, Dr. Kadee Anstadt.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I think three things that come to mind that we need right now, and I think Dr. Durant, Dr. Fineske would agree. Wi-Fi access is one of the things that gets in our way more than anything right now. Just having access. So we've talked about maybe installing some antennas in apartment complexes, places where kids just don't have that access, and that's going to cost money. And in spite of what you're hearing, there is no money truck pulling up right now to any of our school districts. We are giving books away because libraries aren't open and we need new books. We don't want to send used books out to our kids. So today, for example, at one of our elementary schools, we're kind of keeping it on the hush hush. We're doing a book drive and at that elementary school, and we'll do that in 7 other schools over the next couple of weeks. And then finally, summer camp scholarships. We have some great opportunities for our kids, but they won't be free. Any of you that want to reach out to me for a private conversation about how you can help our school districts, all of us are willing to talk to you. We always love working with our community partners and especially Rotarians who have a heart to serve. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Fineske, Dr. Durant, Dr. Anstadt, and thank you, Brad Delventhal, for serving as our moderator at the start of the panel. I'll pass it back to President Tim Ryan.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, doctors. I was listening to the presentation carefully, and it struck me that we are lucky to have all 3 of you serving our community right now. And I'm hopeful that while this is a tough time and there are many challenges, there are also many lessons and opportunities to be had. And I know that all 3 of you are going to take advantage of as many as you can. Normally I would give you guys a book, but you're not getting a book because I'm not doing that. What we will do is we will make a contribution to the Polio Plus Fund in your name. And so as you look at what your life is like towards the end of as you're going to sleep, you can think that you did one great thing. You helped save some lives. So thank you all 3 for that great presentation. As we move forward, I'm going to quickly go through a couple of things. What I said about the idea of opportunities, this Rotary Club has got some challenges going on, and I don't know where this is all going to shake out, but I'm really glad to be working with the Rotarians that I am working with. We formed some ad hoc committees to look at all of the decisions we're making. They're pretty fast, because the circumstances require quick decisions. The committees that we have formed are to take a look at the kind of stuff that will make us better. There are opportunities here, and I think we're going to come out stronger. And I hope that's true for the school districts as well. real quickly, Scott Henshaw, are you there?
This week, we're going to do a little Toledo Rotary Zoom happy hour. We're going to do it on Thursday evening. It's 7 o'clock. There's a link that's been sent out. It was sent out on Friday, and I believe it was sent out again this morning. And we want to do it just to get together, catch up a little, see what everybody's been doing and not doing, obviously, during this unusual time period, but also just to share some fellowship and also maybe answer a few Toledo Rotary trivia questions. So hope you can join us.
How are you going to get this message out, Scott?
Well, twice now. Right now is perfect. Thank you, President Tim. I appreciate the opportunity. And then we will send another email this week so that folks know exactly which Zoom link to click.
Okay, thank you. I'll look forward to that meeting on Thursday. What time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Do I need to drink?
If you would like to partake in adult beverage, please feel free. If you want to have something else, also feel free. We're more than welcome. We're just excited to see some people.
I'm looking forward to it. I plan on shaving for it.
Yeah, not me.
Thank you for everything you do, Scott.
Okay.
Brad Kuzno, are you there? And are you going to introduce a new member or members?
I want to call us back to something that Shireen shared with us, the power of one. And when we started this year, it was a different world and a different time. And today was very inspiring to see what Rotarians are helping with and just learning more. And I think being a member of Rotary is all the more powerful, frankly, with what we've already done to transform our format. So today, not just one, power of one, we have the power of two. And I'm going to introduce two new Rotarians. Let me start, President Tim and my fellow Rotarians, by introducing Maria Schmalzried. Maria is a Toledo native, and she graduated from the University of Toledo with both a bachelor's degree in political science, as well as her master's degree in public health administration. And there she is with one of her special children. She spent 7 years at ProMedica in the philanthropy department and ended her career there as executive director of the ProMedica Foundation, where she dedicated her time to raising funds for community needs related to social determinants of health. And I think we're seeing right now how crucial that aspect of serving and helping people is with what's happening with coronavirus. She currently serves as the Director of Development for the University of Toledo Foundation. And she's devoting her time there to the College of Business and Innovation. And that's my alma mater. Working in philanthropy provides Maria with opportunity to connect people's philanthropic passions. She's big about passions and with community needs. And so in her own words, she feels privileged to make these connections. Her passion is making a difference in the lives of others. And to be a part of this work is incredibly fulfilling to her. So most important to Maria, though, is her family, as evidenced by the photo that you see. She and her husband, Corey, reside in Sylvania and have the honor of being the parents to daughters, Riley and Mia. Fellow Rotarians, join me in a warm Rotary virtual welcome to Maria Schmalzried.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm super excited to be a part of the group. Thank you to Brent for his mentorship. Thank you to Tim for also meeting with me, President Tim, and welcoming me to the group. And I almost made it through the whole meeting without a baby waking up, but here we are.
It's a beautiful thing. So glad to be able to welcome you today. And I think there's a bright future for Rotary with you as part of it. Now, number two, my pleasure to introduce Sierra Hutton. Sierra was born in Findlay and raised in Vanloo. She graduated from the University of Findlay with a bachelor's degree in sport and event management, and subsequently with a master's degree in education in human resource development. Sierra started her career with a not-for-profit in Findlay as the volunteer and outreach coordinator, and ultimately served as development director. She now, and this is where we met, is Director of Donor Relations at Sunshine Communities in Maumee. At Sunshine, Sierra has the pleasure of building relationships with supporters who are truly passionate about Sunshine's mission of creating community for individuals with developmental disabilities. When Sierra's not doing that good work, she sits on the planning committee for the Women of Toledo Empowerment Summit, is a member of the Maumee Chamber of Commerce and their membership committee. She's a member of BNI, a member of EPIC Toledo, which many of us are familiar with, including its planning committee for its leadership summit and its current cohort of servant leadership. Sarah is also co-host of the podcast Women Doing Work and has her own virtual health and wellness business. Thankfully it's virtual because in these times, right? She enjoys spending time with her family, attending Toledo Walleye and Detroit Red Wings games. And Sierra resides in Deschler with her boyfriend and their two pups, Silo and Dino. So welcome, please welcome Sierra Hutton to our Rotary Club virtually, just like we did for Maria. And welcome, Sierra.
Hey everyone, thank you so much. I am so excited to be a part of this group. Oddly enough, since I started my career, I've always wanted the opportunity to be a part of Rotary. I just love what Rotary stands for and how they connect our world and take care of those around us. And so it's an absolute pleasure of mine to be a part of this group. And I am so excited to get to know all of you. And I am a complete extrovert. So being stuck in the house right now is just absolutely killing me. And so I cannot wait to get out of the house and be able to meet all of you in person and start to get to know all of you, because it's going to be so much fun. But really, truly, I'm so excited to be here and to help bring a little bit of sunshine to the group. So thank you guys, and I will look forward to getting to know you.
And thank you.
Just a few comments from me before, as we close this. Maria, you have just joined the Rotary Club, Rotary International. Now you are now a member, and at this moment you have 1,200,000, I think is the number, fellow Rotarians around the world. You would be hard pressed to go anywhere in the world and not have immediate friends. So right now, you are the newest Rotarian in all of the world. Congratulations. Sierra, right this moment, you are the newest Rotarian in the whole world. You've joined 1.2 million, and I have to say to both of you, to have a successful career with the Toledo Rotary Club, it will depend upon you participating in the committees. That's where the fun stuff happens. That's where you can really shine. So welcome to both of you as new Rotarians. And having said that, I have to ask, is Joe Sweeney there? Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm here.
Joe,
Hello,
we have some sad. Can you tell us what's going on? And is Pedro in the country?
Pedro is actually on the call. He is in country.
Oh, good.
And, for a few more days. And it's actually a little bittersweet for everybody, but we certainly enjoyed having Pedro at St. Francis for the last number of months. He's been at a couple of different luncheons that we've had at Rotary, but we're sad to see him go. But what a blessing he's been to St. Francis and to the community. You know, I remember when there he is. I remember when we were talking to Pedro at the beginning of the year, we asked him what his biggest concerns were, and he was wondering whether or not he would be accepted by his classmates and new friends. And there's no question that he has. Seeing him here on the screen, it's probably the last time we're going to see him. You've been a real blessing, Pedro. We're very grateful for your presence, and Godspeed to you.
Pedro, could you say a few words before we close the meeting?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I would like to thank all of you guys and at International Rotary to give me this opportunity. And it was like the best year of my life. And I made friends that I know I'm gonna keep forever, and family, like the Forcers, they were like such a blessing in my life. You know, they're helping me with college too, because I want to come back for college. So they helped me all the way through with everything. And all my friends, they're coming over to sign my flag, of course, keeping 6 feet apart. But yeah, I really appreciate and I thank all of you guys, because that wouldn't be possible without each one of you that accept me. So thanks, President Team and all Rotarians, for making this possible. And I hope I had been a good part of the year for everyone that I met. And I want to keep in touch with everyone here because it was part of my life, and I'm so glad that I did that. It was such an amazing experience for me.
Thank you very much. I hope that you know how happy we have been to have you amongst us, and that for the rest of your life, you are welcome to come to the Toledo Rotary Club.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, and you're going to be missed.
Thank you. And I'm gonna wait for you guys in Brazil. Always welcome.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Having said that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. Kevin, as we close the meeting, how many people, or Travis, how many people have been on Facebook?
It's tough to calculate until we stop the broadcast, but I will tell you, there's been quite a few comments from TPS students about whether or not they need to turn in their homework. So that one did come in. And Dr. Durant, you'll appreciate that Candace Harrison's all over it. She told them they do still have to turn their homework in.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next week. We are adjourned.